So many real estate agents that are so bad at their jobs, and the problem is most people are not going to figure this out until it's too late. So I have a student that just came to one of our coaching calls. I have a financial coaching program, and she wanted to talk about this property that she was thinking about putting an offer on. Her agent didn't identify any of these red flags to her, but I saw so many of them as soon as she started talking about the home. When we were talking about the expenses that she would have to pay for every month with purchasing this property, one of the things was a maintenance fee because it was a condo. Now, this maintenance fee was $900 a month. What we need to understand is that maintenance fees don't usually ever go down, they only increase. And there is usually an inverse relationship between the price of the property and the condo fee. The higher the condo fee goes, usually the lower the price of the property goes. This is because once those condo fees hit a certain price, there are less people that are interested in buying. Now, when you're buying a condo property, you need to think of it as you are buying a piece of a business. You need to understand how much money the condo corporation makes, how much money they spend, and if they are being sued. Because ultimately, all of these things become your responsibility. And one of the things she asked me was, what is a reasonable price for me to offer on this property? What can I actually expect to pay? Here's the tea. What you want to pay for a property doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things. What matters is what the property is actually valued at. Now, the value of a property is always a value range, never a static number. And your real estate agent should be working out what this value range is using a three-pronged approach. It is a huge red flag if you walk into a property and your agent asks you what you want to pay instead of telling you what the property is actually worth. And that is because when you are financing a property like the majority of people are, it's not necessarily your home, it's the bank's home. And the bank is not going to pay some inflated price just because you decided to pay that. Paying more than what the home is worth can put you in a position where you don't have a mortgage to cover what you've actually agreed to pay to the seller. So the first thing that your agent should be doing is doing a comparative market analysis. They should be looking at the historical prices in that neighborhood or in that specific building and coming up with a value range based on the most recent sales. The more current the sale, the better the comparable. What I actually used to do for my clients when I was a real estate broker is I would have a spreadsheet and I would come up with the 3 most comparable properties and I would plus or minus for different deficiencies. From this, I would come up with a value range. This is the first prong. Now, the second prong, this is where we would look at the average price increase or decrease in that specific neighborhood since the last time the property was sold. This is a less reliable way of coming up with the value of the property, but it's still important to compare this to your numbers from your comparative market analysis to make sure you're on the right track. The third prong you need to look at is the supply and the demand of that specific neighborhood. If there's more supply, that means there's more choices for buyers, and that typically means the price is going to be at the lower end of the value range. If there's less supply and more demand, that means typically the price is going to be at the higher end of the value range.